I moved to New York about 21 years ago because I was very interested in working in fashion, and I went to school for fashion design in Michigan, which is where I grew up. And I had a boss at the time who offered me a job in New York, and I was so excited because this was the place to be to work in fashion. So that's how I got here. And I spent the first 5 years here really just kind of trying to figure out where my place was going to be in the fashion industry. So it really took me about 10 years until my career got to a place where I was able to sustain myself as an artist and you know, make a living at it and just become successful. The photo and styling industry has changed dramatically actually since I've been working in it. So with the technologies that are coming in with the internet, there's been a huge impact on the way that the advertising industry is working, and a lot of the jobs that used to be there are no longer there. So people are really redefining different ways of doing commerce now and using stylists in a different way in a lot of different capacities. Some of the older, you know, we used to do a lot of catalog shoots and they don't really exist to the same degree anymore. So now I work a lot more with consulting for companies. I'm starting my own jewelry line. You know, there's many different ways that I've taken my skills to be a little bit more relevant in the way that the world is going these days. And one of the things that I'm focusing on is being more conscious in sustainable practices so that we're not putting as much waste out into the world. You know, I guess in a way it's probably good that there's not as many catalogs being printed because there's so many trees that get cut down to make that happen. And with the jewelry line that I'm doing, it's all done, you know, by local craftsmen in Peru, and we're helping to support indigenous communities through the practice of this so that we can keep the indigenous arts alive. And I think that for me, it's just become more important to be consciously thinking about why I'm doing the work I'm doing. You know, I went through a process very early on when I was younger where I just wanted to style because that's what made me excited. But now I'm just being more conscious actually about what type of jobs I'm taking or where I'm putting my energy, because the healing of the planet and having this sustainable way of living is more important to me than ever, and more important, I think, to the future of the world. You know, I guess for me, I've been through so many different waves in my career, and you know, as I was starting to see the changes in the industry, so like I said, there's a lot of jobs in the industry that they just don't do as many of them anymore, like catalogs, for instance. You know, as these sort of shifts started happening, I had to also redefine myself and look at where I was putting my energy into, because a lot of the work that I used to do wasn't there anymore. So there's been quite a level of reinventing myself that's had to happen in there. And through that process, I also personally went through a moment of spiritual awakening, if you want to say, by having to reconnect with what was really important to me, because I was also in a position to say, well, I can go this way, or I can go this way, or I can go this way. You know, there was more space and time for me in there to really look at what I was doing. And around the same time period, I also started to do sound channeling. And that experience of becoming a sound channel was something that connected me, I think, more to an essence of who I am, and really made me just much more conscious of why I'm doing everything that I'm doing in my life. And so that plays out into, you know, my work, it plays out into my relationships in my life, it plays out into the foods that I consume, and becoming much more aware is now something that I have to do with my work, because I wouldn't be in integrity with myself if I was doing it another way. I think that even the fast fashion companies are starting to look at more sustainable ways, or even looking at what kind of dyes, for instance, they're putting into the clothing, and coming up with new ways that don't pollute the environment as much. And with certain companies or certain ways of production, it's a slow process, but there are many companies now that are really conscious about this and about the ways that they're making things, and also the practices that they use to have fair compensation for those people that are being employed by them. So, you know, I think that one of my goals is just to get the word out and to start creating things that I am also attached to that have more of this holistic approach to moving forward into our future, because I believe that it's important for the planet right now, and it's important for our environment. And it's also important just to respect humans, respect that we live on Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is a part of who we are, and just to really embrace that and to give back. The jewelry line that I'm launching, called Chic Shaman, is actually, we're also giving a percentage of the proceeds of this to the Alianza Arcana, which is an Amazonian, it supports the Amazon and the indigenous people down there, and because the community around which this is created are these indigenous communities in the Amazon, we want to also give back to them. So I think that companies that are giving back, and just helping to create safer ways for the planet to create and coexist are you know, kind of where it's at right now. Well, with the internet making everything so accessible, I believe that there are many, many, many more people that are becoming consciously aware of so many different things around them, and even as a consumer. So I do think that there's going to be a much quicker shift into this. I also, if you just look at the environment right now, you can see that there's a lot of natural disasters happening. There's a lot of just a lot of events in the world that I believe are opening people's eyes up to how we're treating ourselves and our environment. And I in a way, like, I think we're going to have to look at these things, whether we want to or not. It's in our face now. The economy, everything, you know, these things that we used to take for granted don't exist in the same capacity that they used to. When I was younger, I definitely wanted things to happen quickly. I thought I was super smart, and, you know, I just thought I knew everything. And then I started working, and I started to realize that there was a reason that these people put so much time into getting where they were, that there was so many things that you couldn't learn from a book, that you had to actually have the experience in order to understand how to, even the craftsmanship, all of it. So, you know, I do think that there is an impatience in some of the younger people that I see because of the how, you know, you can go on the internet and become a celebrity the following day if you put the right video out these days. And, you know, I see that there is less patience sometimes with younger people. And now I never receive phone calls, really. Everyone texts or texts to ask when I can talk. And there's a lack of, like, that human connection that's happening. And I think that because of that, things are moving faster, and people are feeling that people are more expendable, or they can move on faster. But I don't think that's a sustainable way of being. I think that the true human connection is a sustainable way of being. And so, you know, anything that I get involved with is going to be more on that human level, and hopefully we can bring that into the fashion world too. I'm working on, I'm the fashion director of a magazine called Quiet Lunch. And Quiet Lunch is an art magazine, and I'm the fashion director, and my friend Georgina Billington is the beauty director. And all of the shoots that we're doing for the magazine right now is around the Awakening Consciousness theme. So we're going to be doing a big event for that in February. And the whole process of it is really just to open people's eyes with some very cool photo shoots. But it's really opening up a conversation of where can we go forward? How can we go forward now into the world and create more sustainable ways of manufacturing things that are in harmony with the planet? So that's the conversation that we're opening up, and we're just doing it through some fun art. But I'm very excited about it. Actually, one of our models, Ariana Joy, who has a website called holisticexplorer.com, she was not a model, but actually a friend of me and Georgina's, and or Georgina, she was our friend, and we looked at her one day and we said, "God, you're so beautiful. You should come model for us." So we put her in the Chic Shaman ads and in a shoot called Icaro that we did for the magazine, and she looks like an A-list model. So now she's actually modeling afterwards. She just got a paid modeling job since she worked with us. So we like to say that we discovered her. Yeah, and the photographers and the models and the hair and makeup people, they're all very much into this. I think people are really aware of it now, and they're really thinking about it. And you know, we have to start somewhere. So we're starting with what we do best, and what we do best is photo shoots. And so if we can create beautiful art that starts this conversation and gets people to think about it, like, that's really important to us, because that's a good starting place. That's what we know how to do best. Sting is a musician that really supports the Amazon. So I think Sting is a very good example of a musician that is creating awareness, or, you know, he always shows up to help support the rainforest because he spent quite an amount of time there. And another one who's, you know, kind of controversial in some spaces, but I think is like really brilliant, is Russell Brand. He, you know, he talks a lot about consciousness. He does yoga. He stopped using drugs. He's like cleaned himself up, and he's become super conscious, and he's not afraid to take a stand for it. You know, so I think that celebrities who are in a position to create awareness, there's a lot of people that are following them, and I think it's a wonderful thing when there are celebrities that are able to use their fame and support a more conscious way of being with it. I would like to see fashion go in the direction where craftsmanship, where people are really valuing craftsmanship again, as opposed to moving so quickly through fast fashion. So not seeing things to be as disposable, creating quality garments that people can then wear as a piece of their own art and put in their closet and cherish it for many years. I would like to see a return to really people being self-expressed through their clothing. So, you know, finding ways of dressing that are enhancing who they are. That's really great. And I would like to see people employing communities, indigenous communities, in a fair way, so that we can continue to support dying arts. That would be really beautiful. I believe that everyone comes onto this planet with a gift, with something that they do really well. And I would like to tell younger people to just find what it is that inspires you. Look at what your talents really are, and hone your gifts so that you can bring your gifts into this world, and do it from a place that inspires you, because I believe that that's how we are going to create more vibrant and exciting lives for ourselves. So, you know, don't be afraid of just going for something that you really believe in, and be conscious through the decision of it. You know, think about what you're creating and why you're creating it, and what message you're putting out to the world. Yeah, go for it.